That's why relationships are not 50-50. They're 80-20. They're 90-10. There was one scene where I was like, okay, we're doing this. All she had to do was drop her location and he was there. That girl knows how to write a male main character. Kanan did not play about Neva. And I know these are fictional characters. It's never that serious. But hey, chapter bestie, what's up and welcome back to another video. For those who don't know, my name is Angie. I'm primarily a romance and suspense reader. But every now and then we tap into lit fic, contemporary fiction, and historical fiction. Today is all about romance. I love romance. It's my top genre and I get so excited and so giddy anytime I read any kind of romance. I don't care if it's cheesy, I don't care what it is, I'm gonna absolutely eat it up. But I'm here because I read a whole lot of romances in the year 2024 with over 100 books. Probably 80% of them were romance books, and so I'm going to give you my top 10 romances for 2024. Now, when we think about romance, it's like, what do we truly think about? And so I was like, well, let me go on the internet and find the definition for romance, and it says a feeling of excitement and mystery associated with love. And that really didn't give me what I was trying to get, and so I went a little further on Wikipedia. Romance or romantic love is a feeling of love for or a strong attraction towards another person. And the courtship, remember, because you got to court each other, the courtship behaviors undertaken by an individual to express those overall feelings and resultant emotions. Really? This is my aunt calling, y'all. Hold on.
Few moments later.
Okay, so let's jump into my top romances of 2024. The first one is obviously my girl Tia Williams, 7 Days in June, which follows Eva and Shane, and they were childhood lovers, and so they end up meeting back at a literary event and they kind of unfold from there. So there's a lot of trauma there. It's such a sad thing that happens in the book as to why they fell apart, because it's just, it really broke my heart. And it's not like sad, but it's like, dang, man, that's messed up. But I really truly love that romance. And the thing that made it super duper romancy for me was the fact that they had such good chemistry, to the point where they were both authors, that they knew in their literature that they were writing about each other. And if that's not romance, if that's not chemistry, I don't know what is. Like, they exemplified romance. Yeah. Then Life Was Beautiful by Asia Monique. Oh my goodness, this book right here, Asia Monique, and I just got done reading, and then there was Passion or something like that, the second one in the Hanson series. But whew, that girl knows how to write a male main character, okay? Let me tell you that first. And then Life Was Beautiful follows Corey and August, and basically August is in a situation where he has a child, and I'm not going to share how he got the child, but he has a newborn child. But he had a one-night stand with Corey, and she's pregnant now, so they are kind of having to accept the babies that, you know, because, you know, babies can change the trajectory of a relationship. Like, not everybody can maintain their marriage and maintain their chemistry when they have kids, or when kids come in the world. That's one thing my mother-in-law always told me. She was like, as much as I want y'all to have kids, just wait until you're ready, because it does change the trajectory, or not the trajectory, but it does change the dynamics of your relationship. And so they went through a lot as a couple, a lot of emotions, a lot of things happening in their life. But when I tell you, August was the most emotionally available man that I found written in a book. He was absolutely 1000% there for his girl and for his children. And he exuded romance to an extent where I still think about August and Corey like I know them from around the way. Like, they're still on my brain. They're still on my mind. Like, absolutely ate that book up. The next book is Only for the Weak by Natasha Bishop. And I know I just talked about some of these books, but these books were so romantic. I just don't understand. This book was pure sexiness, right? It follows Janelle, and I think the male main character's name was Rome, and Janelle and Rome are there for a wedding. She is the maid of honor and he is the best man, and they kind of link up for the week in Tulum. And when I tell you the book was sexy, because romance is that too, right? It's intimacy, it's sexy, it's the feels, and that's what this book gave. So if you have not read Natasha Bishop's Only for the Week, you must. It's a must read. Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen follows, y'all, I suck with names, so I'm not even going to try to sit here and act like I just know all the characters' names. Even when I love a book, sometimes I just forget the names. That's me. That's who I am. But Only for the Summer follows a female main character who is going on a bunch of different dates. Her family is like, listen, you're pushing a point where you need a man, and we want to have babies around the house and stuff like that. So she's kind of searching for the man of her dreams, and she does online dating. And so she goes to this bar around her way where a bartender is there, and he's kind of looking out for her on these dates. And when I tell y'all, the subtleness in him liking her and being in tune with knowing that he may like her, and just him having to work through some things, some traumas that he experienced in his own personal life. The way that he poured into her, because it's Curvy Girl Summer, obviously I think they said she was like a size 16. He poured into her in ways that every curvy girl needs a man to pour into her. Like, you're beautiful, you're strong, you're all the things. You don't lack just because you are curvy, or just because you are heavy set, or whatever the case may be. And that was romance to me, when you can pour into your partner, when you can love your partner down. Chef's kiss. Most of All You by Mia Sheridan was my first book by the author, and I absolutely fell in love with her as soon as I read it. It follows Ellie, and I think the male main character's name is Gabriel. When I tell you I loved Ellie and Gabriel's romance, so both of them have childhood traumas, and I'm not going to share what they are because obviously it'll ruin the book. So when I tell you these Gabriel and Ellie, not to minimize anybody else's trauma, but you ain't heard about trauma until you read Ellie and Gabriel's story. I mean, Ellie was kind of typical, but Gabriel was just truly, truly heartbreaking. And he kind of he kind of seeks her out to teach him how to like be in a relationship. And obviously when you're doing stuff like that, and I don't want to say they were fake dating, but they were kind of like, he wanted to know how to feel and how to be with a woman and things like that. And as they were developing their relationship, Ellie had to go away, and she had to learn some things on her own. Let me just say that. And Gabriel was so patient with her. He was so understanding of her. As much as he loved her, he let her take her time and come to herself. He didn't rush her to be with him. And I'm a relationship coach, y'all. And when I see a man, and I know these are fictional characters, it's never that serious, but when I see that, I'm like, damn, why can't men be like this in their relationships? Because that's all a woman wants, is for you to be patient with her, for you to protect her, for you to provide for her. And I'm not talking about just financially providing, but just providing in general. But I done put on the relationship coach hat. Let's take it off and go back to chapter bestie Angie. So yeah, hands down, one of my favorite books of all time. Truly, truly touching, truly, truly romantic, and the epilogue at the end just really, really made me feel good. Now this book,
Kennedy Ryan has entered the chat.
Real. I just read this in November, and I loved the book. I mean, that book was romance. If you're into film, if you're into real romance, if you're into kind of slow burny, but not really slow burny. I don't know. If you've read Real, let me know if you think it's like a slow burn, because it gave slow burn, but then it just, I guess it was written so well to the point where the slow burn, when it happened, it was like, yes, like yes. So I don't know. If you read it, let me know your thoughts on that. But The book follows, let me get this out because y'all know I suck with names. I done told y'all that several times. It is what it is. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. So the female main character's name is Neva, and the male main character's name is Cannon. So Cannon is a producer and Neva is on Broadway as an understudy. And so Cannon is dragged to her Broadway because the regular, what do you call the main person? But anyway, the main person is out. She's on vacation. So it's Neva's turn to shine on Broadway. And when she wowed the crap out of Cannon. So I think it was originally, it's like a Grumpy Sunshine, with Cannon being the grumpy person because he has, you know, he's dealing with grief, and her being Sunshine because she's just like, I don't care, I'm gonna be me, it doesn't matter. But lo and behold, she has something that she's hiding and something that she's battling on her own. And when I tell y'all, Cannon looked out for this woman in her sickness and her going down and her feeling bad, and even when she was up doing things, the way that he took care of her, he did not play about her. Cannon did not play about Neva. And again, every woman wants that. A man that does not play about her, that's going to, side note, I just recently went through an experience back in August where I was on a walker. I could not pee by myself. I could not do anything because my back went completely out due to stage 4 disc herniation. And I needed somebody like Cannon, and my husband was that plus some, obviously. So when I could really resonate with her in understanding that when you're down, you down. And that's why relationships are not 50-50. They're 80-20. They're 90-10. Because some days you only going to be able to give 30%. And that partner is going to have to pick up the other 70%. And so, Cannon and Eva, it's always them. Like, it's always them. Somebody's Wife by Robbie Renee. Zeke and Gemma. Baby, romance. Zeke had this thing where he showed up for Gemma every single time. All she had to do was drop her location and he was there. What? Like, that is romance. That's courtship. That's being there. Anyway, the book is about a woman, Gemma. She works in Dean of Affairs at a college, and I can't even talk, I'm so excited, like, it's ridiculous. But Gemma works in Dean of Affairs, and she is going through betrayal at home. And so she interviews Zeke for a position at the college, and the instant Zeke saw her, he knew that was his woman. And it's called Somebody's Wife for a reason. He can't really have her. But something happens where they get together in a way, and their story unfolds. And so one man's trash is another man's treasure. That's this book right here. For sure. This book right here. I mean, Zeke and Gemma, the spice in the book, it was spicy. It was spicy. There was one scene where I was like, okay, we're doing this. Let's just lay it all out there. We're doing it. So it was just romantic from page 1 to page whatever, however many pages was in the book. A Novel Christmas by Charity Shane is a book that I just read, I want to say early December, and I love that book. It was super predictable, right? So sometimes when you're reading romance books, it's not about the predictability. It's about how the author makes you feel within that predictability. And everything about this book, and the female main character and the male main character, she's a struggling writer. Well, not struggling writer. She's a best-selling author, and I guess her sales are going down, and so her publisher says, I want you to write a Christmas book, but she's uninspired. So she ends up going to Santa Claus, Indiana, I think it is, and she meets a firefighter who has trauma and who is going through things. But I will say, after reading certain books with male main characters having trauma like this one, the reason why I put this in the romance category is because he was emotionally there. He was emotionally intelligent. He was emotionally available. Like, he knew that he wanted her, and he didn't let his own trauma and his own feelings get in the way of him loving on her and him being with her. And so although he was working through things, he was still available for her. And I think that's the romantic part in this book, regardless of the predictability of the novel. But A Novel Christmas was so good. It's a sweet Christmas romance. Highly recommend it. It's a feel-good romance. It's not something where you're going to gain a whole lot of perspective. I'll say that. But it's really, really cute. And it goes down, and because of the male main character, it goes down as in the top 10 of best romances for 2024 for me. And the last book is Reckless by Elsie Silver, which follows Theo and Winter. And so there is a trope in here that, let me see on Goodreads if the trope is in the synopsis. Because if it's in the synopsis, then I'll go ahead and say it. If it's not, I'm not going to say it. Okay, so I'm not going to say what the trope is. It's a secret. Winter has a secret. And Theo is basically like a ladies' man. But when the secret is revealed, when I tell you Theo shows the hell up, he shows up. And he shows up in a way that will put him in your top 10 book boyfriends. I don't care how many books you've read, how many years you've been reading. Theo Silva is going to be at the top of that list. He was romantic. He was there. He was present. He didn't let adversity stop him. And I hurt him. I hurt him. I did. Editing me has entered the chat because lo and behold, as I was editing, I realized I did not list the 10th book, and it's in my one of my favorite series of the year, King of Sloth by Anna Wong. And really quickly, it follows, I can't believe I did this, it follows Sloane and Xavier. Xavier is kind of like a wild child, bad boy, and Sloane is business. She comes off a little hard, but she has childhood trauma, parental issues that she's kind of working through that causes her to be the way that she is. Anyway, the romance in the book was top tier. First, because Xavier did what he had to do to make Sloane comfortable and know that he was going to be the best version of himself for her. So I highly recommend this. I also highly recommend that you read the series in order. Although they say you don't have to, I just feel like it's much better when you read a series in order. So yeah, that's really the last book that I'm going to share in this video. So those are my 10 best romances for 2024. I will say that there are so many others that I could have chose from, but those 10 really stuck out to me and really made me feel giddy in all the feels. Like I said, I read a lot of bangers, and it was very, very hard to narrow it down to 10. I could have did 24 for 24, but I just wanted to keep it short and sweet and let y'all know that there are some good romantic books out there. Romance, like real romance that is available, romance that's going to protect you, romance that is just going to make you feel good. So if you read any of these books, let me know in the comment. If you plan to read some of them, let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. So I have no idea where I left off in this conversation, but we're talking about romances today. So the romances that I'm going to be, I was telling y'all I was going to share the top 10 2024 romances. All right, so let's jump into the top 2024 romances of, wait, what? Okay, so let's jump into the top